I think we are. Good evening, guys. This is our
What up?
first. This is our first evening stream. It's been a rough Monday. Yeah. How was your Monday, Tom?
Not too bad. Not too bad, really.
Ah, I
Yeah,
guess
I know. It sucks.
I'm the only one.
It'll be
Alright,
alright, though.
guys. So we decided that even though we are late, we are still gonna do a stream tonight because that's how you maintain a habit. You keep doing what you do. So before we jump into it, I thought it might be cool for me to show what I was working on for our next content release for our patrons. So I've been working on doing some 3D sketches in 3D code of medieval fantasy weapons, and you can see, some of them are more medieval than others.
Would this be like the next step in the process with the motorbikes?
Yes. So you guys saw the silhouettes, how I started, creating silhouettes, and then the next step would be transitioning into a 3D blockout and then extracting a 3D form out of a 2D silhouette. And right now I'm in the render room. If I go to my Sculptrum, you see that I actually have silhouettes here. That's what I used to extract these weapons from. Exact same process. Oh. I can hear myself loudly for some reason.
Yeah, I lost my headphones.
Oh. Yeah, exact same process as the motorbikes, starting out from 2D silhouettes and creating 3D shapes. So that was one of the things that I was working on. I was also refining some of the weapon concepts that I was working on. So here you can see a line work of the sniper rifle, and here I'm doing a different angle from the different side, so I can, I have a better understanding of what this model is going to be. And right now I'm in the process of cleaning up the line work, and you can see I have this red marked layer, which is my loose design doodle, and basically I'm cleaning it up and making it pretty with nice black lines. So yeah, there's gonna be a few of these. If you guys remember, a few months back I did a 3D code blockout of a assault rifle. It wasn't detailed. I kind of went straight from silhouette to a 3D blockout. But the next step would be, for this guy, is blocking it out in 3D code. And since I already spent all this time refining a 2D concept, I already have the design down, and I can jump straight into detailed modeling. So that's.
I think eventually this may or may not be a part of the modular weapons thing, right?
Yeah, that was my original intention, to create a kit where, like a blueprint in Unreal, where you can use sliders to customize a weapon and create kind of like a Borderlands style random weapon system that can create, a SMG sniper or a shotgun assault, shotgun Uzi, kind of like the weapon randomizer that doesn't necessarily make sense in terms of weapon design, but could be like a fun thing to do. So yeah, that's one thing. What are you working on today, Tom? Or rather,
Yeah, I'm going to be doing some UMG work on the loot crate thing. And also, I think I might have identified a gap in my interface to allow the loot crate to animate itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I may be building another interface class to support a lootable item in addition to the looter interface.
Cool.
programming.
Yay. So today I wanted to actually do something new and different. A friend of mine and one of our patrons, Patrick, he's a visual effects artist, and he wouldn't show up about a program called Houdini. And Houdini is this how do you summarize Houdini? It's
A nonlinear procedural modeling, rendering, and animation tool.
Yeah, that's a very nice summary. Originally, it started out as I think it was purely simulation software where people just used it to simulate oceans and crazy fluid simulations, and then it kind of grew and grew, and most recently they've been adding some really cool modeling features and really focusing on the game dev aspect of it. And I never used Houdini before. Today was my first time launching it, and I spent maybe a couple hours just watching a few tutorials and messing around with it. And I wanted to kind of show you my first impressions of what I was able to do, and we can talk about some of the procedural design and what's so awesome about it. The cool thing about Houdini, it comes with the Apprentice license, which is a non-commercial edition. You can see it says in the corner, non-commercial. It costs absolutely nothing. You can download it right now, install it, and you have a software fully available to you to learn how to use it. And the only restriction is like a watermark when you render, which is, if you're a game designer, probably doesn't really matter for you. And the indie license is only $200, which is really, really cheap compared to some of the other products that are out there. So without further ado, let's do something cool in here. I wouldn't be able to do anything amazing because I'm really new to this program, but so first thing you'll see is this interface. There's a viewport. The navigation is very similar to Maya. You just alt click to orbit, you middle mouse to pan, you use scroll wheel to zoom. You can also press and hold space bar to activate same set of features, and then you can middle drag. And more about that in a future, not in a future, but in a sec. So if you look at all of these panels, there's little like arrow thing, arrow button that's by the header of the panel. So this lets you hide and unhide certain parts of the interface, which is cool. Like I'm not gonna do any simulations or animations, so I can just press this button and free up some of my interface. Same can be done here, but I actually kind of need this tool thing. You can also drag. This is like an outliner, basically. Shows you the hierarchy. Now I don't know how to hide it. It's funny. There you go. Closed it. So, and another thing that is really cool is this the graph, the scene graph thing on the right. And by the way, if you've used Houdini before, then you're probably much more experienced than I am, because I still don't know the names of all the things that I'm showing. So if I'm saying something silly or something that's flat out wrong, just make sure to correct me in YouTube comments or on Twitch, wherever you're watching it. So let's create a box. So if I click on the box, you can see it gives me a nice little outline, and I can just click, and you can see it creates a box. And in here you can see it's got like we have this kind of a node that pops up as soon as we create a box, and it's called box object. If I double click the node, you can see it says box, and there's these icons. This one is visibility, and basically if I have more items here, for example, if I grab in edge mode and I move something, you can see whenever I do an edit to my object, it automatically creates an edit node, and if I go back to my original box and press an eyeball icon or just press this blue part, you can see it goes back to my original model. So it's non-destructive, it lets you go back and forth and change your model the way you want to on the fly. So if I go here, for example, and select this edge, and then from here I drag and press tab and type bevel, poly bevel. You can see we can wait, undo poly bevel, and then I can bevel my entire mesh, for example, and I can change it to round, so it's a nice and round object. So, but let's say down the road we decided, hey, we don't want this this edit that we did previously, this one over here. So what you can do is literally just select it and delete, and then if you go back, you still have your mesh. Or you can go here and actually do modify it. Do something like this, and then go into bevel. Still maintains your history. Oh, what the hell is this? Connecting things. Oh look, I made art. Alright, so let's grab all this and delete it. So now we have just a regular pretty box. And as a matter of fact, let's just delete the bevel as well. So I created a box, but what if I want to have more than just one object? So you can see here we have kind of like a path, a hierarchy. So if I press obj, it goes out into this main area where I can see all my objects. If I create a sphere, you can see now I have a sphere object and a box object. And I keep accidentally connecting things because it's late Monday and I'm tired. So let's grab the sphere and delete it. So let's talk about the select mode. So if I click on the object, you can see like I'm kind of like in a object mode right now. That's what it's called in Maya or in other standard 3D applications. If I press S on the keyboard, wait. If I never mind. Wait a second. So there's this select tool, which lets you, like, if you press S on the keyboard, it lets you select things. So if I have like multiple items in my scene, and right now you can see I have this the rotate move scale gizmo that lets me rotate, move, and does it let me scale? Looks like there's a move and rotate. I don't see the scale. Maybe I'm blind. Either way, if I press S or click on this select button here, now I can select multiple objects. But whenever you're in this select mode, you'll notice if I click on an empty space, I can't rotate anymore. So that's where you can you press Alt Shift, Alt and Shift to, you know, Alt to rotate, Shift to select more, and then, or you can use spacebar to orbit, and middle mouse to pan. So if I click on my mesh and then press 2 or 3 or 4, I'm starting to switch between components. So 2 for points, 3 for edges, and 4 for faces. So I can select a few faces, and then under modify, actually under polygon, I can extrude them, and so on and so forth. And once again, when you're in the select mode, in order to rotate, you can just middle click on the empty space. You have to press spacebar and then, you know, click and drag to orbit, or middle click to pan. So let's go back to my mode and like out of my components mode and go back to my cube. So let's do something cool. Let's scale it. And when you're scaling it, you can just hover over an axis until it gets highlighted, and then you middle mouse to activate it and use that handle. And you can use this little cool little it's like a drop down to adjust the stepping at which you want to adjust the scale or translation or rotation. I press W, which goes into the kind of like the wireframe mode. So pressing 2 on a key, actually 3 on a keyboard to select the edges. And now, so there are a few ways to activate your modeling commands. You can use the shelf, but that's kind of the slowest way. In here, in this you have 2 drop downs. You can change your workspace to a modeling workspace, which is essentially very similar to what I had before. And then here you can choose either modeling or poly modeling. So if I choose poly modeling and I press C on the keyboard, you can see it gives me all my modeling options right here. So press 3, select a few edges, and then we're gonna do poly bevel. And we can, you know, add a bevel, make sure it's round, not a chamfer, subdivide it nicely. It will create like a little arc. So we can, and here it's, you can see it's being created right over there, the modifier, or like the node for the command that we are creating. Now I can go to faces mode, select these faces, and do bevel as well. We're just doing something very simple. So the interesting thing is, because I stretched my box, it's deforming my bevels. They're not non-uniform, and that's interesting because, like, in Maya or in Blender, I would have to freeze transformations. In here, I'm not quite sure because I never used model before. So let's see what we can do. I'll definitely want to do edges. Okay, and so if I'm in the object mode, there is this modify pre-transform. Okay, you can clean translates, you can clean transform, and you can clean scales. So this sounds like freezing transformations in Maya. So let's do that. I clean transforms. Now if I go back to my edge selection mode, or like face selection mode, let's do that. And then poly bevel. I think it's better. I don't, maybe not. Oh well. So let's do another, maybe extrude. So you can extrude something like this. And I don't know. Do another extrude here. I'm just trying to create something slightly complex. We can also use our scale tools to, you know, make it pretty. Shift double click on the edge to select an edge loop, and then we can bevel it. Now, these faces, if I'm creating this as a game model, like I don't want these faces to remain as n-gons. So what I'm gonna do is select these guys and just delete them. And you can see in here it creates a blast node. Blast means delete in Houdini. So, and here just we can select these loops and do polyfill. And you can see it fills it and tries to create quads. And this is actually pretty good. You can, there are options to fill it with triangles or a triangle fan, quads fan. There is a grid. This is actually really good. And you can see we have we've created a simple model. But the cool part about this is that at any point we can double click on it and go here and change the settings of and its properties in a non-destructive way. Look at that. So if you look at, you know, go on YouTube and look up Houdini videos, there's gonna be a lot of comments about people complaining that, oh, Houdini looks like it's the modeling is quite slow in it. And you can see like something as simple as this would take me seconds to create in something like Maya or Blender. But something to keep in mind is that whenever you create a model like this in your traditional 3D application, you're basically creating a static object. You're creating I don't know. What's the Tom? What's the best way to compare this creating a static object to? I'm tired. You're creating a bicycle, and when you're building the same thing in Houdini, you're creating a bicycle making factory, because you can take this and you can actually bring it into your game engine, whether it's Unity or Unreal, and you can expose all these parameters as controls, and you can actually change all these things that I'm changing here right now right inside of the engine. And the cool part is that, it's incredibly, it might not be the fastest modeler if you want to just create a door handle, but in production, if you're making a game with hundreds of door handles, it's gonna save your ass. And that's what's so awesome about it, and that's what really excites me. So one last final step here. Let's add I think it's this thing. So I'm adding a new scene view, and in here I'm gonna change it to, what was it? UV viewport. So you can see right now, this mesh doesn't have any UVs, and that's kind of the key thing. Whenever you, let's say I want, this is the mesh that I'm gonna use in my game, but then I want to bring it into the engine, and then I want to create variations of it and change it slightly. And a lot of times you have to go back and forth and make sure that the UVs are properly adjusted. Even if it's just a blockout mesh, you still want proper light map UVs and all that jazz. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add a UV unwrap. Actually, before I do UV unwrap, it looks like there is some normals issue. So let's add a normal node, and this one is gonna be by face area. Let's set it to 40. And one thing to keep in mind, you can see I'm adjusting things and nothing's happening. It's because I'm currently previewing this poly field, not the normal. So if I click on that, bam, normals are fixed. And I can change the slider to dynamically affect this. So next step, let's do a UV unwrap. UV. Alright, and now if I go to my UV viewport, making sure I'm viewing the proper thing, and look at this. So I got a pretty solid, automatic unwrap. I can adjust the spacing. We can make the scale, stretch or uniform. I obviously want it uniform. There's all sorts of options for the layout. And now let's do this. How do I've done it before, I promise. Split top bottom. So if I show you the UV unwrap, I can go back and modify any of these options or any of these parameters that I've done, that I modeled here, and my UVs are gonna update as I go. So different width, sure. Boop, boop, boop. UVs updated. Different bevel, sure. UVs are updated. And once again, the craziest part about this is that you can have all these controls right inside of your game engine using the Houdini engine. That's the plugin that kind of sends these assets over. And yeah, that's kind of like concludes my the amount of things that I've learned today, and concludes my little demo. And Tom just left. Hi, Tom.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I couldn't hear you before.
I've been talking this whole time, and then I realized that you were talking over me.
Oh, I was wondering why you're so quiet.
Yeah. So this is actually kind of, it's interesting to be talking about procedural content generation the day after you were doing your silhouettes for the motorbikes.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think if you pulled them up right now, do you have them? Yeah. So this process of creating not an infinite number of variations, but like a good sample size, because you don't always know what's going to be good, right? You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know until you put the ink on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And one of the compelling things about Houdini is, or I think it's probably the most compelling thing about Houdini, aside from the simulation stuff, is that it kind of frees you from that frozen state of, look at this perfect, beautiful jewel that I crafted. Please don't suggest that I make any changes to it, because I have to go all the way back to the beginning to do so.
Yeah, the nightmare of any artist in production, right? Going back
in production, yeah, because you're dealing with there's 5 stakeholders that you're dealing with, and all of them want to have their special snowflake idea, their unique vision for what the garbage can should look like.
Yeah.
But this would allow you to kind of plan ahead for that process of giving them 30 different garbage cans to look at, and you really only had to make the one. So yeah, if you're modeling, I'm not sure that I would try to model people with this kind of process.
It's
but if you were doing like a utility belt for a character, absolutely, like do 700 different variations and then just go through and eliminate the ones that suck, and there you go. At that point, your biggest problem is batch exporting to FBX all the different iterations.
Yeah. Or export it as a Houdini asset and actually change it in the engine without having to.
There's other targets for this content besides Unreal Engine.
Yeah, that's true.
You might have a custom game engine, or you might have Scene Kit, which doesn't work with anything. There's all kinds of platforms. So yeah, I think more than just being able to generate 100 usable in-game assets of the same type, you have that ability to iterate in the concepting phase very, very quickly to get to a point where okay, this is about the final form that I want to use. And then you could even take that, export it as OBJ, bring it back into ZBrush, and do high frequency detail on it.
Yeah.
And at that point, this is the shape we want.
Yeah.
Because you've looked at 1,000.
So I'm trying to see.
I think you wanted edge bevel there.
I went in and I wanted to add. So yeah, I'm adding an edit in between before I've done like all this unwraps and all the fields and other crap. A lot of times, like you created this perfect UV unwrap and your model is finalized, and then the guy shows up and is like, oh, I want a bevel here, or I want something else, and then you're like, well, shit, if I add a bevel, then my entire UV layout needs to be redone, right? Here I just went back to in my stack, and I added a bevel, and now I can. Where is it? Oh no, I think that's the one I added. It would be nice if I was able to, like, tell which one. Is it the one? Okay, yeah, here it is. So here's the little arrow down icon that's bypass, so I can basically hide and unhide changes. And you can see as I'm hiding and unhiding them, they freaking update in my UV editor. So this is if this is not in magic, then I don't know what is magic. Tell me, Tom, what's magic? Are you still there? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I had to mute again. What did you want?
I don't know.
I went back to programming. It's so hard at night. In the morning, I can totally focus on two things at once, but... Oh, wow, what happened?
I don't know. I broke it.
That looks great.
Amazing. Oh, maybe it's this. Oh. I was probably previewing the wrong thing, or it was caching or some shit. Yeah, now it's fine. I don't know what it was. Oh well. So yeah, I hope you learned something new. And
did you show them where you can displace the vertices in the cage?
What?
Like
well yeah, I kind of showed it. So like if you go back to if I click back on my box, you can see I see the outline of my original cube that I started from, and I'm literally modifying my original box and changing the freaking proportions of it to be something completely different. Like I can create like a sci-fi floor out of it, and it updates, like it maintains all my bevels, all my changes, updates UVs, and
yeah. You were able to do like a vertex edit too, weren't you?
Like probably can, but you're asking hard questions. Wait, where's my... Yeah, I mean, that can become a little bit painful.
Yeah, because you don't have a lot of starting resolution there. That looks great. I like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I've done a fair bit of the modular blockouts in Unreal, where you have an array of these boxes, basically boxes of different scales. There's a box that's 500 units by 500 units by 50, and that's what you would use for like a basic square piece of a wall. And then if you look at Unreal starter content, do you have an Unreal open handy, like with starter content?
Yeah.
Do you have Unreal open?
I do.
Yeah, can you share your screen?
Oh, sorry.
Because I'm looking at your face.
My face is pretty.
It is. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So if you just go to the what is it, geometry, or
yeah, I don't usually start my projects with starter content.
No, at the top where it says visual effects, geometry. I guess geometry would be BSB. Yeah, it would be BSB. Yeah, that's not what you want. But this Unreal comes with starter content, and there's presets of like door frames and just boxes that you can use for floors and walls. I spent hours just grabbing a box, bringing it back to my modeling application, scaling it to be 800 units instead of 500 units, or being it 50 units thick instead of 100 units thick, or 20 units thick instead of, and just creating this ridiculous amount of these kind of the starter assets that can be used to create an environment.
Yeah, and it's going to get even worse because they're adding modeling tools to the editor now.
Well, no, it's gonna get better because you can just model shit right in the editor.
Well, yeah, except for that, you know, you're not going to have that awesome procedural stack from Houdini that, you know, like all of your edits that you do in the editor are going to be destructive.
Well, no, I think the subdivision modeling that you're talking about is gonna be actual subdivision modeling, but Houdini uses their own third-party like format. It's like I guess the closest thing I can compare it to is a substance file that you bring in, and it is a substance file. It's not something else.
Right.
And you can still modify Houdini, you know, all the Houdini parameters, and you know, the subdivision modeling would be completely different. But yeah, like I really don't like spending my time scaling boxes and unwrapping useless stuff. Like if I could, and I have like a script that automatically does just like a box projection and sets pivots and exports shit out. But if I can do it right within the engine, and you know I can change both the scale and UVs are gonna be fine, then why would I do it the old way? So yeah, definitely excited about Houdini and looking forward to learn more of it. That's all I have for today, Tom.
I'm fighting with Unreal.
What's wrong?
It's not retaining the reference to the UMG widget.
Oh.
It errors.
I would help you, but it's 9:55. I'm 5 minutes away from falling asleep.
Oh, you're tired.
I guess it's 11:55 for you. 10:55. Never mind. Oh, it's been a long day.
I didn't realize that it was Sympathy for Alex Day.
Hey, if I'll just drink my water.
What could be wrong?
All right, guys.
Okay, good. We did it.
Let's stream in the morning tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, please.
Let's never do that again.
Let's never do that again.
Yeah. On this cheerful note, thanks for watching, guys.
Good night, everybody.